Have you ever wondered how the art of DJing, the act of spinning, mixing and scratching records came into existence? Who was the first person to manipulate sounds and create music in this unique way? The story begins in the early 20th century with the birth of radio broadcasting. Radio DJs, the pioneers of this profession, would manually select and play records on air, often adding their own commentary in between songs. This was the era of the 1920s and 1930s, when music began to reach the masses in a way it never had before. As we journey into the 1940s and 1950s, the role of the DJ began to evolve. Clubs and dance halls started hiring DJs to play music and keep the crowd entertained. This was the start of the DJ as we know it today, the person behind the decks controlling the dance floor. The 1960s and 1970s saw another shift in the DJ landscape. This was the era of disco and the birth of turntablism. DJs began to experiment with their equipment, creating new sounds and techniques. They started to mix records together, blending one song into the next seamlessly. This was also the era of the first superstar DJs, like Francis Grasso, who became known for their skills and distinctive styles. Now, let's take a leap into the 1980s. This is the decade when DJing truly became an art form. With the rise of hip-hop, DJs started to scratch records, creating rhythmic sounds. They became musicians in their own right, using their turntables as instruments. The 1980s also saw the birth of house music, with DJs like Frankie Knuckles leading the way. Fast forward to the 1990s and 2000s, and we enter the era of digital DJing. With the advent of technology, DJs could now mix music on their computers. This opened up a whole new world of possibilities, allowing DJs to create their own music, remix other songs, and even perform live. And here we are in the present day. DJs are now an integral part of the music industry. They headline festivals, sell out arenas, and have a massive influence on popular culture. They've come a long way from the radio DJs of the 1920s, but their goal remains the same: to share their love of music with the world. In summary, the evolution of DJs has been a fascinating journey. From radio broadcasters in the 1920s and 1930s, to club DJs in the 1940s and 1950s, to the birth of turntablism in the 1960s and 1970s, to the rise of digital DJing in the 1990s and 2000s, and finally, to the superstar DJs of today. Each era has brought new innovations and techniques, shaping the art of DJing into what it is today. This is the story of DJs, the masters of the decks, the custodians of the dance floor, and the maestros of music.